Hey, welcome back everybody. Hope we're having a wonderful Tuesday out there and hopefully a safe one, especially you folks in the Midwest last night that had that big intense line of storms that is still even showing up here currently on satellite and radar, although it has calmed down a tad. But last night the Chicago Metro was it was quite loud, it was quite dangerous, it was quite scary probably for a lot of folks as well, where we had multiple tornadoes really on the ground at the same time there, and obviously we're also still fighting that straight line wind threat through many of those areas. So again, just let me know in the comments if you're in that area, and tell me what you saw, and again, good to hear that you're safe, obviously as well, hopefully. So yeah, but that same general idea is going to continue today, but for different areas of the country as this cold front slowly kind of dives on southward and is on the bright side going to bring nicer weather on the other side of it. But again, unfortunately, we've kind of had to deal with these strong, powerful storms before getting to that cold front. But that is often how the weather works. A lot like life. Sometimes you got to go through the rough bits to get to the good part. And sure enough, the same thing has been happening this week. So, with that said, if you haven't already subscribed, please do so. Goal is 10,000 subscribers by the end of hurricane season. So that would get us to November 1st, I believe. And I think that's going to be pretty doable. We've already gained, I think, really like 50 to 100 within the past week or so. So again, we've seen some good growth even for such a slow time period, which I'm super grateful for. Also, like the video, and as I mentioned, comment, let me know where you're watching from and what you're seeing out in your neck of the woods. Alrighty, I think with all that said, we can go ahead and jump on into the weather here. And again, the good news, I'll go ahead and start with that, is our cold front is on the way. In fact, you can even see it showing up on satellite loop here. This general area of kind of cloud cover that you're seeing diving south and eastbound, that's our cold front. And again, it is working through slowly, but many of us are going to kind of begin to feel the effects of that in a good way, as early as today and through especially the next couple of days, while others are going to feel the, I don't want to say not good side, but the more rainy side of it, per se, going later on into this week, and that'll be a big focus on today's video. Now, taking a look at radar imagery here, again, you will notice we have these complexes of storms kind of continuing to work off towards the south and east. That same general theme we've been talking about. Also, ignore this. It's just kind of a little blip in the radar. In fact, just to make sure you don't have to look at it, we're going to pause it and keep radar right here. So, again, still just kind of this clustering of storms from Oklahoma over to Kansas, Missouri, into southern Illinois and Indiana. And again, this is that same complex of storms that brought those destructive winds into portions of Illinois, Iowa, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Indiana. And I think I already said Illinois, but I'll say it again because they really got it bad last night. So again, seeing the leftovers of that this morning. Other than that, things are relatively quiet across much of the country. Again, a couple areas of storms up towards Maine, and then another complex of storms kind of in the Montreal area that will eventually work into the northeast this afternoon. And we do have another severe weather threat today because of that, and we will show you that here in just a second. All right, current watches, warnings, alerts, advisories, looks a lot like yesterday morning. And, to be completely honest with you here, a lot of heat advisories up and down the I-95 corridor, as well as excessive heat warnings from the PD of South Carolina over towards Myrtle Beach, Wilmington, up through much of the Outer Banks, Norfolk, D.C., Philadelphia, Dover, Delaware, Baltimore, a lot of major cities, Memphis, Little Rock, under excessive heat warnings this afternoon, because, again, it is just going to be brutally hot. So again, the good news is only really a couple more days of this brutal heat before some light at the end of the tunnel, if you will, going towards this weekend. But again, we still have to get through these couple days. So make sure you're staying hydrated. If you can limit outside work, if you don't have to be out there doing a lot of physical activity, then definitely avoid that. And also check in on your neighbors, especially any elderly neighbors who might be, a little more prone to, problems with the heat. Always good to do that as well. Other watches, warnings, advisories, again, that complex of storms in the Kansas City area. We've got a severe thunderstorm watch at the time I'm recording this. That'll change by the time you're watching this probably. And then also some flooding potential here along the Ohio River Valley from Cincinnati through St. Louis. So again, watching out for that as well. All right. Also, in fact, I'm going to go ahead and mute myself really quickly and blow my nose. I'm still kind of fighting this cold a little bit. So again, if I sound like a train wreck, that's my excuse. All right, so we're going to be fine. Hopefully, this rain we get in Charlotte eventually will maybe clear out some of whatever is in the air that's got me a little, teary-eyed here. But either way, I'll be fine. So, now, turning to today's severe weather threat, again, that is something that we need to focus on for sure. We do have a couple slight risks up, and by the time you're watching this, we may even have another one. But one area is right into the northeast from really some of the big major cities here. New York City, Philadelphia, Trenton, Baltimore, D.C., back towards West Virginia, Pittsburgh even, Syracuse. A lot of folks here in the Northeast under the gun for severe weather. Also another slight risk out here into some less populated areas of Kansas, Nebraska, and the panhandle of Texas, Oklahoma, and even into eastern Colorado there. Now, I would also not be surprised to see this slight risk expanded kind of into here, or just a new area on its own added, as some of our model guidance is suggesting another strong line of storms through that area this afternoon. So, be prepared for that potential. But either way, if you're under any of these threat areas today, have an eye to the sky and have a way to get warnings, including the threat of an isolated tornado or two into upstate New York and back here into the heart of Nebraska. I don't know what's going on with 2024, but it feels like for some reason this part of, the Northeast is maybe the new tornado alley. A place that doesn't see that many, but we've had multiple tornado outlooks for that area within the past month or two. So, not anything too new for 2024 standards for that part of the country, but either way, got to stay weather aware this afternoon and evening. All right, now going into tomorrow, we once again have that severe weather threat kind of along the I-95 corridor and even back down into portions of North Carolina potentially. Could see some strong to severe storms for our Wednesday afternoon. So kind of Raleigh, Greensboro, northbound all the way up through Maine. Again, a couple strong storms possible for our Wednesday. So we will definitely be watching out for that threat as well. All right, let's go ahead and look at some model guidance, and I've said this the past couple videos at the beginning, but once again, just know that the models are not going to handle this perfectly, so if you're just under that SPC outlook today, that is going to be the main indicator that you could see strong to severe storms, but the model guidance can help as well. In fact, the NAM actually did pretty good yesterday, so we'll see if maybe it can win 2 days in a row here, and for our sake, we will hope so. But with that said, let's go ahead and take a look here. So, getting into later this morning and afternoon, again, that complex of storms kind of over Montreal that I was mentioning is going to slowly push into the northeast, and with it, is going to bring some more active weather, and you'll notice that here by the time we're getting into the afternoon and evening hours, again, almost like a miniature front here, kind of sweeping all the way down through the mid-Atlantic, with clustering of storms, again, highest tornado threat with this cluster of storms into upstate New York, but isolated storms all the way down through the Hudson River Valley, all the way down through Virginia even, and even into portions of the Carolinas, which we will take a look at here in just a moment. But that swings on through this afternoon and evening. We'll need to watch for strong to severe storms with that, again, from Virginia all the way northbound, including, again, the threat of a couple isolated tornadoes into the New England area, and that general idea continues into the overnight tonight, still some scattered strong storms, but we wake up to a little bit of a lull on Wednesday. Before Wednesday afternoon, we do it all again. More widespread strong storms popping up here through the I-95 corridor, again, even further south than there, but we'll take a look at the southeast here in just a second. Again, for our Wednesday afternoon, could pack a punch, strong winds, maybe an isolated tornado, and hail going to be a smaller threat, but can't completely rule it out here. For our Wednesday afternoon. Again, noticing this swinging on through, even into the overnight Wednesday before finally we wake up Thursday morning to much nicer conditions and should stay much nicer for much of New England and the Northeast throughout Thursday afternoon. So again, got to get through today and tomorrow, and then kind of some light there at the end of the tunnel, including drier conditions up here. One, obviously rainfall-wise, but two, even the air is going to just feel nicer with a lower dew point into this weekend, and I'll show you that map in just a moment. All right, the southeast, not really under a, severe weather threat from the Storm Prediction Center, but I'll tell you, it's summertime, there's a lot of heat out there, a lot of thunderstorm fuel, and we have thunderstorms that are likely going to form. So even if we're not under a Storm Prediction Center outlook today, don't rule it out. We could see a couple strong to severe storms with some strong straight line winds being the main threat here. this afternoon as well as tomorrow afternoon, and really probably any day through this week through much of the southeast. But here we go. So again, this evening, that line of storms from the northeast is trying to drape down all the way into the Carolinas, potentially through the foothills of North and South Carolina, and then potentially some of those storms trying to make their way into the Piedmont of these regions. Maybe this evening, Charlotte, Greensboro, Raleigh could see a couple rumbles of thunder and some stronger storms, and even up into the Roanoke, Richmond area. We'll be watching out for that threat during the evening hours. Now, the other area I want to point your attention to, and give me one more second here. All right, sorry, again, probably not the most professional thing, but, blowing my nose in a video is better than having no video at all. Again, completely off track here, which I do in almost every video now, it seems like. But the good news is I'm at that point of this cold now where I kind of feel fine, and it's just the fact that my nose is constantly running. So that's, maybe good news. We're getting towards the better side of things, hopefully. But anyway, back to the weather, which is why you're here and not for medical advice. So where were we? Yeah, weather. That's right. So Tuesday afternoon, this afternoon, like I said, those storms try to work through the mid-Atlantic and the southeast. Watch what happens this evening, though. As I mentioned, I wouldn't be surprised to see a new slight risk through sections of Kentucky and the Ohio River Valley, and that's because some of our models are indicating another strong complex of storms developing during sunset tonight and kind of swinging through those areas during the overnight hours through Lexington, Paducah, Cape Girardeau, eventually even trying to get into portions of the Ozarks overnight tonight. And by the time we're waking up tomorrow morning, still kind of being left over there a little bit and back towards the Arkansas area. Another thing we'll need to watch for tomorrow morning is potentially some coastal storms from the Outer Banks down towards Myrtle Beach, Charleston, and Savannah. Could see some strong storms offshore during the morning. May even try to work inland just a little bit. We'll have to watch for that. But then tomorrow afternoon, another widespread area of rain, probably even more widespread than today. And again, we have that marginal risk getting all the way down into North Carolina tomorrow. In all honesty, really anyone, though, that sees these storms during the afternoon tomorrow on Wednesday, some could be strong to severe. Again, straight line winds being the main threat there. Again, those continuing to kind of work on through during Wednesday afternoon and evening. Anyone in the southeast could see rain, and then again on Thursday afternoon, we'll do it all again. All right, the plains, again, another area that's going to see some strong storms. Just to bring you back to the original map here, here's that slight risk this afternoon for this section of the country. Going to kind of breeze on through this a little bit. Again, same general idea. Strong storms develop this afternoon and evening. Strong straight line winds, maybe a brief isolated tornado, and a little bit of hail cannot be ruled out here in these regions throughout the afternoon and the evening hours. Eventually, this turning into kind of, again, a complex of storms that eventually kind of merges probably with another area of storms tomorrow morning. And then Wednesday afternoon, again, more storms develop, probably closer to the Red River Valley, moving through the Little Rock area on Wednesday, and even into Thursday afternoon, some more storms in the South Central Plains. But noticing that storm trend moves further and further south through this part of the country, the later in the week we go. All right, let's talk about this cold front a little bit more. Again, moving down out of Canada here, and here we go. It's showing up really good on our dew point map, which is always a good sign. If a cold front shows up pretty strongly on the dew point map, that means it's going to be a little bit stronger than maybe your average summer cold front, and I think this one definitely is. And you'll notice getting into Wednesday afternoon here, again, that front kind of right here still slowly working southbound, bringing in that drier, nicer weather. For our Wednesday afternoon, our Thursday afternoon, and by the time we get to Friday afternoon, this cold front really kind of digging southbound. So here we go, Friday morning. Look at this nice, kind of pocket of drier, nicer air for the northern tier of the country, from Oklahoma through the Ohio River Valley up through the I-95 corridor, kind of Philadelphia northbound here. Dew point's only in the 50s, so that's about a probably 20-degree drop in dew point from what we're seeing now, which is going to really make it feel night and day out there. Recently, it's been hot, it's been muggy. It's still going to be warm, it's still going to be hot even, but these dew point temperatures being lower means it's going to be a much drier heat, and temperatures even probably going to be lower than they have been with, by the time we get into Friday, high highs maybe only up into the 80s compared to the upper 90s that we've been seeing, and even cracking the hundreds for a couple places here throughout the past week or so. Now, unfortunately, to the south of there, you're out of luck in terms of drier air, but it still will be cooler as we're going to see a lot of rain here from Virginia and the Carolinas down through the Gulf Coast states through the weekend. It's going to bring increased cloud cover, which obviously will help to cool things down. Also, increased rain, obviously, also going to cool things down a bit. Now, the nicer weather isn't going to last forever. Unfortunately, I think by the time we get into the start of next week, those dew points work back northbound, and things get once again pretty muggy for most of us. But it will at least be a nice couple days of nicer weather. All right, looking at the rainfall map here, or at least precipitation map or radar here through the next couple of days, we'll kind of move this ahead to Thursday afternoon, which is where we left off. Again, from Thursday through the weekend is when this rainfall trend is going to really lock itself into portions of the southeast here, kind of in this circled area you have. So again, Thursday afternoon, widespread storms, and that's going to continue through Thursday evening. Friday afternoon and evening, we're going to do it all again with more showers and storms through the southeast. Saturday afternoon and evening, again, more showers and storms. Sunday afternoon, again, doing it all again. And then I think getting into the start of next week, things become less scattered and probably a little bit more isolated in nature, but still going to be watching for some of those scattered showers and storms through much of the southeast. All right, temperature trend, it is going to be, cooler than average, obviously, especially once this front moves through. Here we go, Wednesday afternoon, widespread regions, and even the drier portions behind this front, 10 to 15 degrees below what we should be this time of year. So in Minneapolis, if your high is normally 95, let's say, you might only be hitting 80, 85 come Wednesday afternoon. And again, everyone is going to get in on these cooler temperatures probably by the weekend. Although, again, some of us are going to have dry and cool, some of us are going to be more moist and cool, but still definitely probably better than what we've been seeing with just the very hot, humid weather, and even relatively dry weather for some of us that we've had the past couple of weeks. Again, those cooler temperatures hang on through the weekend probably. Try to rebound, I imagine, a little bit into early next week, especially the further east you get. It might cool down a little bit more out into the plains. But either way, this overall average to cooler than average trend is going to hold on for a while here, which is definitely some good news. And just to kind of show you the difference, this is this afternoon in high temperatures. Again, we're going to be approaching upper 90s, even near 100 through portions of the mid-Atlantic and southeast, upper 90s through the Ohio River Valley. We fast forward to Friday, a lot of us are going to be struggling to get out of the 70s potentially through Chicago, Detroit, Indianapolis, Des Moines, Green Bay into Minneapolis as well. But even to the south there through the mid-Atlantic, widespread 80s and lower 90s. So again, a 10 to 15 degree temperature drop in high temperatures by the time we're getting into Friday afternoon. And again, that is going to come with some caveats, including the threat of a lot of rain. In fact, day 3 starting Thursday here, we are going to be looking at an excessive rainfall outlook through sections of the southeast, especially the Carolinas, I would say. But anyone in that green area on your map could see excessive rainfall starting Thursday, and this map will probably be updated to accommodate even Friday and Saturday as well. All right, total rainfall to come. Again, it's not hard to see where that front is going to stall out here. A lot of rain into the Carolinas, into Virginia as well here, and even into just much of the southeast. 3 to 5 inches of rain is not out of the question through portions of the Carolinas, which is good because we need it. But really just anyone in the southeastern part of the country likely to see at least some rain, some of us a lot more than some, now through this time next week. And the other good news, like I mentioned, this will last for a while, even 8 to 14 days from now, a nice pocket of below average temperatures through the southern tier of the country, including increased rain chances through those same areas. So again, this is not kind of a one and done deal. This is something that'll likely last through the extended period here, which will definitely be good for a lot of folks, I think. Alrighty, well, I appreciate y'all watching. Again, sorry about the cold and the sneezing and the coughing and everything else, but I think I'll be better probably in a couple of days, hopefully. I think I've definitely crossed over the hump of the worst of it and should start feeling better here in the future, so we'll look forward to that. With that said, though, I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday. Stay safe, stay dry, stay hydrated, and I will see you all tomorrow.